माधव जी की जय। राधा बिहारी राधा विनोद बिहारी राधा नंद बिहारी जी की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जी की जय। राधा दामोदर श्याम सुंदर गोकुलानंद राधा रमन जी की जय। कृष्ण बलराम महाराज की जय। नित्यलीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद अस्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परिव्राज कचर्य स्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत मधुसूदन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्यलीला पृष्ठ विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्यलीला पृष्ठ विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्ति जीवन जनार्दन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। पृष्ठ ओम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज की जय। पृष्ठ विष्णुपाद श्रीमद् गौर गोविंद महाराज की जय। पृष्ठ विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। श्रीमद् भक्ति वैभव पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। श्रीमद् भक्ति राक्षसीधर गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। पृष्ठ विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। परम भागवत शिल गुरु किशोर दास जी महाराज की जय। सप्तम गोस्वामी सच्चिदानंद शिल भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। वैष्णव सर्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास जी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ श्री गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। स्वरूप दामोदर रामानंद श्री गौर परिषद वृंद की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर गोस्वामी प्रभु शुभ तिरुभाव तिथि महोत्सव की जय। श्री शिवानंद सेन प्रभु शुभ तिरुभाव तिथि महोत्सव की जय। नमाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। नवद्वीप मंडल की जय। ब्रज मंडल की जय। क्षेत्र मंडल की जय। त्रिभुवन मंडल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। चार संप्रदाय चर आचार्य चर धाम की जय। रसेश्वरी क्रियेश्वरी वृंदावनेश्वरी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री कुलदेवी योगमा पूर्णमासी देवी की जय। गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री रथ-यात्रा महामहोत्सव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र जू की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। चारों संप्रदाय चर आचार्य चर धाम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समाप्त गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री रूप अनुगुड़े बचन स्थले कृष्ण बलराम मंदिर की जय। श्री राधा गोविंद गौड़ी मात रोत्तरदम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समाप्त गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। Thank you all. Hartelijk bedankt. Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhike Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Mavadivichi Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Nityananda Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Jannavapataye Namaha Ajanulambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanaya Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karunavataram Kanaka Jalada Gatro Nivashona Janetro Mrigamadavara Palo Malati Kundamala Tarala Taruna Vesho Nilapitam Varesho Smaranibrita Nikunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Tavaivasmi Najivame Tvayavina Iti Vigyaradi Tvam Nayamam Charanantike Haratvam Samsaram Drutakaramasaram Surapati Haratvam Papanam Vitatimapanam Yadavapati Aho Dine Nathe Nihita Charano Nishchitamidam Jagannatha Swami Nayanapatadami Bhavatune Jagannatha Swami Nayanapatadami Bhavatune. Now I want to quote one special verse. Sajiyat Krishna Chaitanya Shri Ratha-gre Nanarthaya Yenasij Jagatam Chitram Jagannathopi Vismitaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, my unlimited Dandavat. Oh, you please speak. Hindu Bhushan Prabhu will speak about Jagannath. Sorry about that, forgot about you. Yes. Introduction in Dutch, Hollandse, Netherlands, Hindi, thoda Hindi. Gurve Govichandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Allereerst ben ik mijn nederige eerbetuiging aan mijn dierbare Gurudev, niet alleen op Wisdom, Vishnupada, zodat het is natuurlijk Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Hetzelfde eerbetuiging aan mijn Siksha Gurus, Om Vishnupada, zodat het de Systematicus Spiriti, Thakurani en Pujapad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj. All Panuka Gurvarka, all Vaisnavas, mijn dank pronaams. Zo. Het verzoek van Maharaj, ik zal een paar woordjes in het Nederlands vertellen als introductie. Vandaag een hele speciale dag voor diegenen die het niet weten. Ik denk iedereen weet het wel. Het is vandaag de dag van Ratha-yatra. Dus in India is het een heel groot festival in Jagannatha Puri. Ik weet niet, het is live uitgezonden op televisie ook en het wordt nog steeds uitgezonden. Het was prachtig om te zien, maar als je dat nog wat aan je... Something is hanging. Zo, het was prachtig om te zien hoe Jagannatha uit de tempel kwam, helemaal geïntoxiceerd door de preen van Vrindavan. Dat het is elk jaar een heel groot festival. Zo, en het is dankzij Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu eigenlijk dat we eigenlijk de diepere betekenis weten van Jagannatha Ratha-yatra. Dus dat hebben we gisteren gehoord. En ook is ook heel mooi beschreven in Sri Caitanya Charitamrita hoe Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu dit festival elk jaar opnieuw vierde. Met zoveel affectie voor Jagannatha. Want wie heeft er meer liefde voor Jagannatha dan Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu? Want hij is in het gemoed van Radharani. Hij denkt niet, oh ik ben Krishna en Krishna staat daar op het altaar als Jagannatha. We zijn dezelfde. Nee, met het gemoed van Radharani keek hij naar de ogen van Jagannatha. En hij zag niet die grote ogen van Jagannatha, hij zag Prajendanandan, Shyam Sundar, de Black Krishna met de fluit en de piepkok verder met zijn piepkok. Die Jagannatha zag Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. En het is heel mooi beschreven hoe die verschillende kirtangroepen organiseerde. Bhakta betekent, je doet alles voor het plezier van Krishna. Bhakti betekent niet, oh ik ga zingen en ik ga genieten van het zingen. Nee, een echte Bhakta die zingt voor Thakurji, die zingt voor Bhagavan. Om Bhagavan te plezieren. En dat is echte Bhakti. Zo Mahaprabhu, hij organiseerde op een hele mooie manier verschillende kirtangroepen. In elke groep zette hij de beste zinger neer, de beste medanga players, de beste dansers. Dus elke groep was een nectar om te zien voor Jagannatha. En Jagannatha genoot er zo van. En wat deed Mahaprabhu nog meer? Hij ging in al deze groepen, was hij aanwezig. Elke groep dacht, oh Mahaprabhu is in onze groep aan het dansen. En die andere groep dacht, oh Mahaprabhu is in onze groep aan het dansen. Dus hij expandeerde zich, net als Krishna, met alle gopis tegelijk kan dansen. Elke gopi denkt, oh Krishna danst alleen met mij. En die worden zo trots. Maar elke gopi die weet niet dat andere gopis datzelfde denken. Dat is de truc van Krishna. Zo Jagannatha, die was aan het kijken hoe Mahaprabhu voor het plezier van hem dit allemaal opvoerde. En hij was zo geïntoxiceerd bij Mahaprabhu's dansen. Wordt gezegd, soms sprong die meters in de grond en viel die in extase op de grond en kwam die niet meer bij. En mensen waren geschokt op dat te zien. Zo in extase was hij aan het dansen. Tranen, als die rondjes draaide, iedereen kreeg een douche van de tranen van Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Zo in extase van Jagannatha. Als Mahaprabhu Jagannatha zei, dan zei hij geen Jagannatha, Jagaga.
hij kon Jagannath niet zeggen. Zo wordt gezegd, als je preemt, dan zit soms je stem zit helemaal vast van heb je een brok in je keel. Zo was die Jaga. Zo was Jagannatha, zo was Mahaprabhu aan het zingen. So dit is heel mooi beschreven in Charitamrita, maar ik zal er zeker het een en ander over vertellen. Zo, het was zelfs zo mooi dat Jagannatha met zijn grote ogen aan naar Mahaprabhu aan het kijken was. En Jagannatha, die rolt, Jagannatha rolt, het lijkt of wij de kaart, of degene de kaart trekken, maar het is eigenlijk, Jagannatha bepaalt zelf wanneer die kaart rolt of niet. En zo was het als Mahaprabhu achter de kar aan het dansen was, op de rug, in de rug van Jagannatha, dan stopte de kar. En soms was Mahaprabhu even op een andere plek, aan het kijken naar het alle dansen. En Jagannatha ging niet verder, die ging niet verder. En ze probeerden Jagannatha verder te pushen en er kwamen heel duizenden mensen probeerden de rat verder te pushen. Maar niemand kreeg de rat verder. Zelfs haalden ze olifanten erbij om de rat verder te trekken. Maar nog geen 1 centimeter kregen ze Jagannatha verder. Want Mahaprabhu was niet in front of Jagannatha. En op een gegeven moment kwam Mahaprabhu en van achter de rat, met zijn hoofd, raakte hij de rat aan en de rat begon te drinken. Zo wat olifanten niet voor elkaar kregen, wat duizenden mensen niet voor elkaar kregen, deed Mahaprabhu met zijn hoofd. Dat is de preem. Jagannatha is gecontroleerd door preem. Dus alles wat we moeten doen, moeten we proberen met liefde te doen. Krishna is gecontroleerd bij liefde. De preem. We hoeven geen geld, we hoeven geen hele show te maken van alles. Als je preem hebt, dan kan je alles krijgen van Jagannatha. Hij is gecontroleerd door preem. Zo, dit is alles wat we nodig hebben. Dus in elke situatie, al hebben we geen cent, maakt niet uit. Preem is het belangrijkste. Zo, dit is wat Mahaprabhu liet zien. Zuivere liefde. Vertoonde hij in front of Jagannatha. Zo, ik zal jullie allemaal aanraden aandachtig te luisteren aan Maharaj zijn weergave van deze avond, van deze speciale dag. En ik ben aan de achterkant zal ik proberen het een en ander te vertalen naar het Nederlands. Dus degenen die geen Engels kunnen volgen, die kunnen aan de achterkant plaatsnemen. Zo, dank jullie allemaal wel voor het komen. En ik geef nu het woord aan Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Gurave Guru Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo. First of all, my limited Dandavat pranams to Shiva Gurudev Nityalila Pravishtam Om Vishnupada Astutra Sata Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, my dear Shiksha Gurus. Also Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, yes. Especially Shri Svarupa Damodara Goswami, today is his disappearance day. Shri Sivananda Sena, his disappearance day also today. Also Lord Jagannath on this Ratha-yatra day. Dear devotees and guests in Rotterdam, in this wonderful temple. Radha Govinda Gaudiya Mat. Also those devotees and friends who are watching us online, Dandavat Pranam. So today is very special dag, as in the Bhushan Prabhu already I told you, special day. That's the day of Ratha-yatra. So some of you were watching probably online, at least we were, this Ratha-yatra festival from Jagannatha Puri. So the tradition is very old, since Satya Yuga. But I think in the Bhushan Prabhu has told you the main mood of Ratha-yatra, something about the main mood of Ratha-yatra. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came and he saw Jagannath for the first time, remember we were telling about that on the second evening, I think. He saw Krishna who is holding a flute, Shyama Sundara Shikanda Shekhara, Smerahasa Murali Manohara, that Krishna. who is holding the flute, who is decorated with long garland of forest flowers, Vaijayantimala, who is decorated with peacock feather, who is casting glances on the gopis, who is Gopinath, therefore controlled by the prema of the gopis. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radhika. So very first we need to say, first of all, we need to say that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought a completely different mood to the Ratha-yatra, to the performance of Ratha-yatra. For the residents of Jagannatha Puri, Jagannath is the Lord of the world. Jagannatha means Lord of the world, and Natha means the Lord. So Jagannatha Puri corresponds to Dwaraka Puri. So as you remember, Krishna lived in Vrindavan for 10 years and 8 months. Then he was brought to Dwaraka along with Balaram by Akrura. But to Mathura by Akrura. And then after staying for some more years in Mathura, he transferred all the residents of Mathura to Dwaraka. Overnight, they were transferred to Dwaraka. So in Dwaraka Puri, Krishna lived a bit more than 100 years. And totally he stayed for 125 years on the surface of the planet. And Krishna in Vrindavan is Vrajendra Nandana Shyama Sundara, the son of King of Vraj. Who is the King of Vraj? Who do you think he is? Nanda Baba, Nanda Maharaj. He is the King of Vraj. So he's Vrajendra Nandana, Shyama Sundara, of a blackish complexion, the wonderful cowherd boy who's playing the flute. And he is then no longer Vrajendra Nandana when he is in Dvarakadham. No, he is known as Devaki Nandan, the son of Devaki, the son of Vasudevanandan, yes, Dwarakadish Mathuresh. So the residents of Dwaraka don't think about him as Vrajendra Nanda, but he always thinks of Vrindavan, specifically about the Brijbasis. As Indu Bhushan Prabhu stated already, Krishna is controlled by the love of the gopis, controlled by the love of Brijbasis. And actually Krishna always thinks of Braj, and Krishna wants to return to Vrindavan. But, well, on the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam we'll never find that Krishna is returning to Vrindavan. But actually this is so. We will not find, but the great souls, the Vrijabhasi Vaishnavas, the Vaishnavas in the mood of Vrijabhasis, they will find, and they will tell us that Krishna is returning to Vrindavan. Therefore, our acharyas, like for example, Gopal Guru Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami, they're explaining that one of the Hare names in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is that Srimati Radhika who is returning Krishna, bringing Krishna back to Vraj. That is Hare, because Hara means to attract, and also to steal. So Radhika is that personality who attracts Krishna and steals his heart, completely steals his heart. So Krishna has lost his heart in Vrindavan. There's a popular T-shirt, I lost my heart in Vrindavan. And not, how to say, empty words. These are very deep words. And since Krishna has lost his heart in Vrindavan, so the Gaudiya Bhaktas also lost his heart in Vrindavan. So as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at Jagannath, from that perspective we're also looking at Jagannath. So he is Vrajendra Nandan, Shyama Sundar and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that mood of adoring Krishna, in the mood of the gopis, in the mood of Srimati Radha Thakurani, he is looking at Jagannath. So as we mentioned, the temple of Jagannath is very, very old, especially the deity. The story goes back towards Satya Yuga. In Satya Yuga, there was a king called Indradyumna. So Indradyumna Maharaj was very, very pious and very religious. And his wife Gundicha Devi was also very pious and religious, but somehow they didn't have any progeny, no sons, no daughters. And the king was so devoted to the Lord that he wanted to see the Lord by any cost in this lifetime. He really had that desire. So he was very cautious about different pilgrims who were coming to his kingdom, and he was living in the city of Avanti long, long ago in Satyayuga. So one time, very, very special pilgrims came to his kingdom, and they were telling about the wonderful deity they had seen, the deity of Nila Madhava. So Nila Madhava deity was so attractive according to their stories that everybody was so much mesmerized by hearing those stories. And especially the smell, the aroma they were carrying was the aroma of the chandan paste and different aromas. The deity had been decorated. So the priests of the king, they told to the prime minister about those wonderful pilgrims, because they knew that the king was very much interested in all kinds of darshans and all kinds of holy people who were telling about different deities. So the prime minister immediately reported to the king, oh, such and such pilgrims are now here and they're spending night. So the king wanted to meet them in the morning, but unfortunately, unluckily for the king, they had left. Before the king came to see them, who was trying to meet them, they had left. And the only thing the king received is that aroma. So king was smelling and he was remembering that aroma all of his time. He couldn't really sleep and eat and do anything. And he said, oh, I'm vowing that I must see Nila Madhava, that deity, in my lifetime, because he really wanted to see the Lord. Remember George Harrison was saying, I would really want to see you, really want to know. So it's coming from your heart, desire for realization to see your Lord. So the king was so much anxious, and therefore he sent different messengers to the four parts of the world, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. And to the east he saw, so he sent the son of his priest, called Vidyapati. So some of them were Kshatriyas, and the son of the priest, he was sent towards east. So he went um, all the way towards the eastern coast of India, where now Jagannatha Puri is situated. So in those groves, he was walking in those forests. And 3 months, I think, had passed before the king became, after that, the king became very anxious. Oh, where are my messengers? Nobody's coming back. And nobody had really found anything. But Vidyapati was walking up and down the seaside, and he found one village of Shabaras. Shabaras, tribe of village people, of jungle people, but they were very high cultured, simple living, high thinking. That was the principle. So he found them and he saw them. Oh, they're very simple, but very devoted and very exalted, actually, as personalities. And he wanted to see the leader of the village. And he asked where his house was. Oh, this is his house. His name is Vishwavasu. And he knocked on the door, and his young daughter opened. Her name was Lalita. And she said, oh, my father is now out, but he will soon be back, so you please sit and wait for him. And Vidyapati was waiting for that leader, Vishwavasu, and finally Vishwavasu came, and when he came, he asked about Vidyapati's whereabouts, etc. So Vidyapati could immediately smell the wonderful smell, the unforgettable smell. And he was thinking what that was. He couldn't understand. So as Vishwavasu was very hospitable, so he left Vidyapati in his house for several days. And, as before people were doing, for 3 days you stay, and then they ask, oh, who are you and where are you going? Only after that. So Lalita was serving the guest in a very gentle way. So finally, he was very much attached to her, and she became attached to him. And although he had been married to someone, he asked Vishwavasu's request to please give his daughter's hand to him. So finally, they got married, and then
Vidyapati noticed that Vishwavasu every evening is leaving, going somewhere, and then returning. And when he returns, that same wonderful smell, that aroma spreads everywhere from his body. So he was wondering where he's going, what's the origin of that aroma? And he asked Lalita, he said, "Oh, this is our family secret. I cannot disclose. But now I'm part of your family. I'm your husband, so you should tell me." And she's saying, "No, my father told me very secretly. Like, keep it top secret and don't disclose, not to disclose to anyone." Okay, I'll talk to your father. Right? He was trying. No, I'll talk to him myself. And she was petitioning his father to disclose the secret to her husband. But father was reluctant. No, he's a foreigner still. But he's my husband. Still, he's foreigner. I cannot disclose because there was a prophecy from the Lord that if you disclose, then I may disappear. I may not give any darshan anymore. So then Lalita took some serious measures. He said, "If you don't disclose to my husband the whereabouts of our family deity, then I'll take poison and poison myself. I'll kill myself." So Guru says that the secret weapon of the lady, the tears and threats. So then father relented and he said, "Okay, but on one condition, I will blindfold him. I will put a black cloth over his eyes and I'll take him on a bullock cart and we'll go up in the mountains. And then for the darshan, I will remove black fold from his eyes and he will be able to see the Lord. And then he will come back again blindfolded." So he did that, but Lalita took one, clever trick. He gave Vidyapati some mustard seeds. You throw mustard seeds, although blindfolded, you can throw mustard seeds all the way on the road when you're being driven on that cart, so that after you go for your king and the king comes, then mustard plants, yellow. In India, in December, all fields are yellow. That's the harvest time for mustard. So those yellow flowers will be grown by then. So your king will be easily able to find the road. So, okay, he planted those mustard seeds on the way. And finally, they came up to the mountains very high, and the blindfold was removed. And he had the darshan of Nilamadhava. Oh, that was something completely unforgettable. Nilamadhava was actually like Vishnu, like Lord Vishnu, with 4 hands, having all the symbols of Vishnu in his hands. Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And he was completely ecstatic while having that darshan. But unluckily, again, he was blindfolded and he went back. And he saw, no, before darshan, I think it was before darshan, he was unfolded, but the Shabar, Vishwavasu, went to collect some flowers. He said, "Wait here till I collect some flowers." And he saw the lake. He saw the lake, wonderful, wonderful lake, and trees. And one crow was sitting on the lake, just on the tree above the lake. And the crow, as it happens sometimes, fell asleep. And fell asleep and fell into the water and drowned. And immediately went all the way up to the spiritual world in a 4-handed form. Such the situation was there in Nilamadhava Dham. So, this place is non different from Vaikuntha. I think it was after darshan. This place is non different from Vaikuntha. Vidyapati decided, "I want to follow that crow. I want to climb the tree and fall into the water and then go to Vaikuntha." But the voice from the sky stopped him. He said, "Your mission on earth is not yet fulfilled. Don't commit suicide prematurely. You have to fulfill great mission for all the humanity. So stay in this world." All right, then. Voice from the sky said. That was Nilamadhava's voice, actually. And Vishwavasu, Vidyapati said, "All right." So again, he was blindfolded, and Vishwavasu brought him back on the cart. So then Vidyapati told his wife, Lalita, he said, "Oh, it's time for me to go and bring my king here." When Vishwavasu learned about that, he locked his son-in-law under the key, stay here. He was like a prisoner, not able to move, not able to leave the room. So then again, Lalita took the help of secret weapon. She said, if you don't release my husband, then I will commit suicide. Then father said, all right, I'll let him out. So he went back to Avanti and told his king. The king was just absolutely ecstatic to receive the news that the deity had been found. So he took his army and he went back to the to that area, to the village of Shabaras, to the east coast of India, and they found, to the great so to say, disappointment to the king and all the army, that the place was completely covered with dust. 100 feet layer of dust was covering everything. So there was no village, there was no Nilamadava, no mountains, nothing. What to speak of those mustard plants? Nothing was there. So then the king said, okay, I'm going to sit here facing the ocean until I die. I don't care if I'm alive or dead. That's dedication, for practice. That's very, very important teaching for us. I will sit until I die. I don't care, but I must see Nilamadhav. I must see Nilamadhav. So such faith attracts. Such faith attracts the Lord. So the Lord spoke. The Lord spoke as the aerial voice again to his pure servant Maharaj Indradyumna, and he said, in this lifetime you will not be able to see me, but I will take you now. I will bring Brahma, Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma will bring you to Vaikuntha, and you're able to see me, or you will be able to have my darshan. So Lord Brahma immediately brought him all the way up to Vaikuntha, and the king had the darshan of Nilamadhav. And also that voice said, oh, when the time comes, I will come in another form, in the form of Daruk Brahman. Daruk Brahman means the wooden Brahman, the Lord in the form of the special transcendental wood. So you sit with your army and wait, and I will give you the sign when I come. So you will be able to find me in the waves. Huge piece of wood will be, red wood, will be floating in the waters of the ocean. So you sit and wait. So the king was sitting and waiting, and finally that great chunk of wood came. And then the king brought all of his army and was trying to move it, but it's not possible to move it. Not possible. The king's army, the greatest generals with chariots and horses and elephants were trying to move it, all unsuccessfully. It was not moved an inch even. Okay, he brought all the sculptures with all the chisels and instruments. They were trying to at least carve something on the shore, all in vain. All the chisels were broken, all the instruments were broken. So then again the voice from the sky came another time, and the voice said, O king, you have to take the help of Vishwavasu, Vidyapati, and Lalita. So they will help. So by the will of fate, by the will of the Lord, they were still available somewhere. They were waiting. They were still alive. So they came, and the great piece of wood was taken on one side by Vishwavasu, on the other side by Vidyapati. Very, very easily they took. And then the king brought that great block of wood to pavilion, to some mandir. And then an old man came. He said, I'm a sculptor. My name is Maharana. So I can carve the deities for you. All of a sudden he came. Actually, that was none other than Jagannath himself. That sculpture was Jagannath himself in a special form. So, but on one condition, for 3 weeks, I think 3 weeks, you should not open the door. I will be working. Don't worry about my food or anything. I will be serving Jagannath. I will be carving. And after that, without any condition, you open the door and see the deities. So for 2 weeks, he was carving, and there was some sound of the hammer and chisel on the instruments. And after 2 weeks, the sound stopped. So nobody could hear anything. So then Gundicha Devi, the wife of the king, the queen, was very, very morose. She says, "Oh, what's going to happen? Probably the old man died. We have to open and see." So before the 3 weeks elapsed, they opened and they saw the unfinished deities. Those deities we see now, with big, big eyes, just 3 chunks of wood, and hands are not completed, also as if shrunken. So they could see those deities, and the old carpenter had disappeared. That was Jagannath himself. In Skanda Purana, Padma Purana is described. There's another version. According to the other version, the old man started to chastise them. Why did you open the door? But most common is that version, when he disappeared. So then the aerial voice came again. "These are my transcendental forms, and you should arrange for the worship. I want the pujaris to be the descendants of the Brahmana wife of Vidyapati, because he had 2 wives. One was Brahmani, the first wife, and the second wife of Shabari was Lalita. So the descendants of the first wife, they should become the pujaris. And the Shabaris, the Shabaras, the descendants of the second wife, Shabari wife, Lalita, they should become the cooks." So Jagannath commanded like this. So till then, since then till now, that tradition is maintained. All the servitors of Jagannath, men, the closest, they are from Shabara race. Shabaras, those village, the same residents of the village, tribal people, jungle people. So, but they're very, very high class, really, high class. In the city of Jagannatha Puri, every Brahmana family has some service, even now. Yes.
Lalita's family and Purvaj, they were cooks.
Yeah.
And from first wife.
From first wife, pujaris.
Okay, till now.
Yeah, till now, maintained. So also, Maharaj Indradyumna had no progeny, and he asked the Lord, "Oh Lord, please allow me not to have progeny." Why? Why don't you want to have progeny? Because if I have sons and daughters, they will start fighting for the service. They will start thinking that Jagannath is their property. So devoted Maharaj Indradyumna was. So since Gundicha Devi, she organized all the situation with Jagannath, and she had arranged many things according to her will that was arranged. So the temple on the opposite side of Grand Road is called Gundicha Mandir. So actually that Gundicha Mandir corresponds to Vrindavan. So when Jagannath goes towards Gundicha Mandir, he is going towards Vrindavan. That's the deepest meaning of Ratha-yatra. So the Western world is very lucky because Srila Gurudev had disclosed the inner meanings of Ratha-yatra. So we're very, very fortunate. Especially here in Europe, and specifically in Berlin and Birmingham, Gurudev was conducting Ratha-yatra festivals, and we're very fortunate to have heard so much Harikatha about Lord Jagannath, the deeper meanings of Ratha-yatra. So we will now dive into that Harikatha. We will try to remember what Srila Gurudev was saying. So in the morning of this particular day, after Gundicha Marjan, after the temple of Gundicha had been cleaned, we were hearing the story of cleansing of Gundicha temple yesterday. So many Vaishnavas, along with Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, went to the first arati of Lord Jagannath, and then the ceremony of Pandu Vijaya began. Pandu Vijaya, the Lord is coming out of the temple. So this morning we saw, some of you also saw, how the Lord was being carried by the Daitas. Daitas are very pure servants of Lord Jagannath. also coming from Shabara race. They can touch him and they can help him going with the special silken strong ropes and on the very special silken pillows. So Jagannath is going and they're supporting him. And Jagannath is shaking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Intoxicated. Why? Why? So we have heard the first story of Ratha-yatra, but now we will borrow something from the third story. So the third story is very confidential. It's in the hearts of the Vaishnavas. So according to that story, Krishna was unconscious in Dwaraka because he was thinking of Vrindavan. And when Krishna was thinking of Vrindavan, he lost consciousness. So everybody was very much disturbed. What to do now? So probably we have to take him to Vrindavan, somebody proposed. No. It's not possible. If he goes to Vrindavan, he will never get back. Right. Oh, probably Narada. You have to start playing Veena and singing about Vrindavan. Narada said, no. If I start playing, then he will run away. He will run away immediately. So, like Gauranga Mahaprabhu, once he heard the song being sung, the song by Jayadev Goswami from Gita Govinda, being sung by Devadasi. You know, Devadasis are very young ladies in Jagannatha Puri who are trained to be brahmacharinis. They are not married, and they dedicate their life to Jagannath, and they're trained how to sing and dance very nicely, and they perform different dramas also. So she was singing from Gita Govinda, and Lord Chaitanya could not hold, and he ran towards the singer, couldn't understand whether that's man or lady, and he wanted to embrace the singer. So Govinda, he stopped him saying, Stri, Stri, that's the lady. Oh, Mahaprabhu said, oh, Govinda, you have saved me. You have saved me. But he, like, so much attracted. So with that same speed, the Lord would run away to Vrindavan. So Narada said, no need to play and sing about Vrindavan. So, okay, so then they proposed, then Uddhava should go. Uddhava should go to Vrindavan and appease the Brijbasis, tell him that, oh, Krishna will soon come, etc. But Uddhava said, no, thank you. I've already been there. I've already been, and my mission was completely failed. Because, as we know, Uddhava could not really estimate the highness of the love of the Brijbasis, especially Brajagopis. Uddhava felt like a little insect on the foothills of the great golden mountain of love of the gopis. So therefore he also refused. And then they were telling Balaram, oh, Baladev, you have to go. Baladev said, thank you very much, I've already been also. I've been, and I was trying to appease the Brijbasis and the gopis, but they were not completely satisfied, so my mission also was not fulfilled. So then Subhadra found her way. Subhadra said, oh, I will go, and I will very cleverly approach everyone in Vrindavan. First of all, I'll talk to Mother Yashoda. I'll say, oh, Krishna will soon come, be prepared. And then I'll talk to Nanda Baba, I'll call all the residents, all the relatives, will talk to them, and I'll also talk to the gopis, and I will prepare them. So arrange everything. And then, okay, Baladev said, oh, then I'm also going. And then Krishna was still unconscious. And then Narada still started to play and sing on his Veena and sing the glories of Vrindavan, and then Krishna woke immediately. But he was completely intoxicated. He was shaking back and forth like a drunk person. So that's why. I didn't finish the story. We'll finish it a bit later, half the story, I told the third story. But therefore, that's why Krishna was drunk. I mean, Krishna was intoxicated. That's why Krishna is shaking back and forth, left and right like this, and they're supporting him. Great amount of gongs is beating all the time, and they are leading Jagannath to the cart. So Krishna is returning to Vrindavan. That's our vision. Okay, I think it's time to tell the second story. Because, well, we stopped in our description of Ratha-yatra procession from hearing how Jagannath was being carried and held by the deities to ascend the cart, but just before we'll hear the second story. So the second story is told by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it's told how Narada was going to all the abodes, meeting all great personalities, because he wanted to know who had received the highest mercy of Krishna. So finally he went to Dwaraka, and he approached the queens of Dwaraka, the Mahishis, and he told Rukmini, Satyabhama and others, "Oh, you are the recipients of the highest mercy of Krishna. You are really carrying his greatest love and the greatest devotion to him in your hearts." Then certainly Rukmini and Satyabhama didn't agree. They were saying, "Oh, we cannot be so, because we have heard about the glories of the residents of Vrindavan, especially Vraja Gopis, especially the young maidens of Vraj. Why? Because Krishna, every night, in his delirium, he remembers the gopis. He remembers the residents of Vrindavan. And he is saying, Lalite, Lalite, Vishake, Vishake, Radhe, Radhe. He's chanting their names. He's chanting their names. Remember why Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas? Remember why? Because he was chanting Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. He was chanting Gopi, Gopi. Yeah. So, but his mood was the mood of Srimati Radhika. So Radhika was taking help of Lalita at that moment. But Krishna is always remembering the gopis. That's why he wants to return to Vrindavan. So then the assembly was held, great assembly, in which the great Brijabasi, actually, who had come to Dwaraka, Rohini, the mother of Balaram, she started telling everyone about the glories of the gopis, because they wanted to go to know that. The Mahishis, they wanted to know the glories of the gopis and also the glories of Vrajalila, what Krishna was doing in Vrindavan, because they were anxious, like, what's about that Vrindavan? What Krishna was doing there? Why the glories of Vrindavan are so high? So the residents of Dwaraka, therefore, were hearing from Mother Rohini about the glories of Vrindavan, because Rohini was Brijbasi formally. So she came to Mathura and Dwaraka, and she was accompanying Krishna and Balaram there. And she was telling everything about all the childhood pastimes, how Krishna was stealing butter, and how Mother Yashoda was catching him and chastising. Once, in fact, she had tied him to a grinding mortar, and how Krishna was meeting his friends and taking lunch with them, and how they were stealing each other's lunch, and how he was wrestling with his friends, and everything she told them. How Krishna was playing the flute, and how he was attracting millions and millions of gopis, and how the ladies of Raj were ready even to give up their religious principles for the possibility to meet Krishna. So he was telling everything, and as a result, they became faithful. They would say faith in Vrindavan was born in their hearts. But also amongst the listeners, there was one special personality, the mother of Kamsa, and name was Padmavati. So that Padmavati, she started protesting. Hey, why are you glorifying the gopis too much? They're very cruel. especially the older ones, Yashoda, etc. They made Krishna starve. Krishna was starving. They weren't feeding him enough. Therefore, Krishna was stealing butter. Right? Krishna was stealing butter. This was very cruel. So Padmavati was saying, actually, Krishna and Balaram must be given some salary for herding cows. Because they had herded so many cows, and gratis, without any without any salary. Nobody had paid them anything. So we have to make a count and count everything. she was above 100 years, and she was thinking, so she was very wise and practical. So she proposed that, but then Rohini became really furious. Hey, you old lady, you don't know anything. You're so stupid. You're thinking you're so advanced, but you don't know anything. I know where you come from. You're boasting that you are the true queen of Mathura, queen of Dwaraka, but actually you were seduced by a demon called Drumila, So Kamsa is not really the son of his father. I mean, consider his father Shurasen. He's the son of demon Drumila, because Drumila approached you in a lusty way when you were playing with your friends on the bank of Yamuna. So that's why those demoniac thoughts are in your head. So she was chastised by Rohini. Okay, you shut up. Sorry. Rohini continued, and she was glorifying Vrindavan in so many ways, and very colorful. When you hear Harikatha, pictures of Vrindavan immediately in your heart. So pictures of Vrindavan were there in the hearts of Mahishis, the queens. And then Krishna was in a different assembly hall, and Krishna came to know somehow that in the assembly hall, all the ladies, all the queens are listening to Rohini, so he rushed. Krishna and Balaram, they rushed. And Subhadra was put outside to guard, so that nobody can enter. But they approached Subhadra, hey, listen, sister, we want to get in. No, you cannot get in. This is verboten. You can stand only outside. Right. But how can we? Oh, actually, we can hear something. Okay, let's. So they were overhearing. They were overhearing, and as they were hearing, they melted. They completely melted. Their hands became shrunken within their bodies, and their bodies became like, like a sugar wide open. So they're envisioning Vrindavan like this. So that's the second story. And the end of the third story we'll hear a bit later, because we have to hear now what really happened during Ratha-yatra in the Bhushan Prabhu. I told you something in brief, but we will hear now what really happened. So, Pandu Vijaya. So the deity was being carried by the Dayatas on the cart. They were very, very strong. Who could hold such a deity? You can understand. So, while the Dayatas were carrying Lord Jagannath on the Ratha, on the cart, then Lord Caitanya was saluting Lord Jagannath with a very special name, Manima, Manima, Manima. Manima means very, very respectful personality. When you see very respectful personality like the king, for example, so you pronounce that, but Mahaprabhu was addressing that to Lord Jagannath, Manima, your greatness, something like this. So then in Jagannatha Puri, there's the king, King Prataparudra was the king who was in the line of Maharaj Indradyumna at that time. So traditionally, the kings now, they perform some service to Lord Jagannath. And this morning we saw also the present king, who was carried on a palanquin by the servants. He performed some arati and he gave some offerings for Jagannath. But King Prataparudra was a pure devotee. But since he was an aristocrat, he was the king, so Mahaprabhu was rejecting his association. He didn't want to associate with the king. And he said that, oh, for a renunciate to see the king and to see a Vishayi means sense gratifier, is worse than drinking poison. So the devotees were saying, oh, Mahaprabhu, please consider, he's not a Vishayi, he's a devotee, and he's so much devoted to you, he wants really to see you, he wants to serve you. The Lord said no. But the king did what? He was serving in a very menial way. Himself, he was sprinkling the road with the water. Today we also saw how the king was sprinkling the road for Jagannath with water. And he was also sweeping the road with a broom, like an ordinary sweeper, before Lord Jagannath. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that and he was very pleased, very pleased. And at the end, in the middle of Ratha-yatra, he gave the king very, very special mercy. And he embraced the king, but that's a separate story. So, although being very respectful, most exalted person, the king was engaged in menial service to Jagannath. So Lord Jagannath rode in a cart, and his smile was filled with pleasure. And as the car stood still, all the devotees came and they decorated the Lord. And as today we also saw how they decorated, and all the dignitaries came and they decorated Lord Jagannath. So then before the kirtan started, the Lord gave garlands to the seniors first, to the senior devotees like Brahmananda Bharati and Paramananda Puri, etc. And then Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, etc. He decorated everyone with garlands and sandalwood pulp, and the leading singers were Svarupa Damodara and I think Mukunda, someone else. So they were singing. And great 7 groups of kirtans in the Bhushan Prabhuji already told you, 7 groups of kirtan were there, and Mahaprabhu was dancing everywhere at the same time. And every group was thinking that Mahaprabhu is dancing only in our group. And so the Sankirtan resounded and Mahaprabhu was chanting, Hari, Hari, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. And as also in the Bhushan Prabhu mentioned, he was not sometimes able to pronounce, so Jai Jagaga, like this. And we heard also in Caitanya, in the Ashtaka we sang today, Sachitana Ashtaka, that he was not able to pronounce. So then Mahaprabhu was pouring tears everywhere, like from syringes. His tears were wetting everyone completely. Like everybody was soaking wet from the powerful shower of his tears. So that was completely amazing. In Jagannatha Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was one Jagannath, and the other Jagannath was immovable. So one Jagannath was movable, and the other Jagannath was immovable. He was watching 2 Jagannaths were competing. Who is best? And then Gauranga Mahaprabhu quoted several verses. First of all, O Lord Jagannath, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. No. He's no. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmayana Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Then he sang Jayate Jayate Deva Devaki Nandanoso Jayate Krishna Vrishni Vamsha Pradipa Jayate Meka Shyamala Komalango Jayate Prithvi Bharanasha Mukunda. That's from Maharaj Kulashekar, Mukunda Mala Stotra, Kulashekar Acharya. So all glories to the light of the dynasty of Vrishni, Supreme Personality, whose luster is like that of new cloud and whose body is as soft as lotus flower. So let us glorify that Lord who had descended to this earth to release its burden from the demons and remove all inauspiciousness. Very wonderful verse. And then finally, famous verse Srila Gurudev was explaining so much. That's from Shri Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, originally I think from Padyavali. Jayata Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavado, from Srimad Bhagavatam. Jayata Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavado, Yaduvara Parishad Svardor Virasya Nadam. Sthirachara Vrijanagna Susmita Shri Mukhena, Rajapura Vanitanam Vardayam Kamadeva. Jayata Janani Vaso. Janani Vaso means the Lord who is present in everyone's heart, but that's the general meaning. Srila Gurudev explaining that this verse has millions of meanings, millions of meanings. When Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were discussing, they were discussing very deep meanings of this verse. Jayata Jana Nivasa. Jana means actually Nija Jana. Nija Jana means very close associates, very dear associates of Krishna. Who are they? Brijabasis, the residents of Raj. They are very, very close associates of Krishna. So he is very, very, how to say, close to them. Yeah. That's why we'll hear how they're bringing him to Vrindavan again. So, Nija. Nija means very, very close. Who are the closest to Krishna? Certainly gopis, especially Radhika's group. So, especially Radhika herself, obviously. Devaki Janma Vada. Vada means theory. Theory about what? That Krishna is the son of Devaki. But there's a trick here. Devaki is another name of Yashoda. Devaki is another name of Yashoda, yes. Therefore, Krishna is actually the son of Devaki, who is Yashoda. For us, Krishna is always Yashodanandan, always Nandanandan. These two names, they are used equally. But Yashodanandan is even closer because the mother's love for a male child is more than to the daughter. And daughter's love, father's love towards the daughter is more. Therefore, Radhika is called Vrishabhanu Nandini, and Krishna is called Yashodanandan. So Yashodanandan is a closer name.
What is the name? Ishvara.
Ishvara?
Ananda.
Nandeshvara.
Nandeshwara.
Oh, that's the name of Shiva. Yeah, Nandishvara Parvat. Yes, on Nandishvara,
Yeah.
the whole Nandagana is standing. Yes. But Nandana, the son of Nanda. Nandan means son, and Nanda means father's name. So, but also Yashodanandan. So, Jayati Jayati Nivasa Devaki Janmavado. So, all the glories of that Lord who is very, very dear to the Brijbasis, whose name is actually Yashodanandan, and there's a theory that he's a Devaki Nandan. He's the son of Devaki. Only in Mathura people still think like this. Gurudev was really fighting with those people from Mathura and from other places who were thinking that Krishna was born in Mathura. That's a popular opinion in India. Everybody comes to Janmasthana in Mathura to see the birthplace of Krishna, to visit the jail, but only Mathuresh, only the partial expansion of Krishna, was born there. Yaduvara Parishad Svardor Virasyam Adharmam. So Yaduvara Parishad, he is the close associates of the Yadus, means the residents of Dwaraka, but the inner meaning, certainly he is the close associates of the residents of Vrindavan again. So Vraja Bhakta always sees us like this. Dorbirasyan Adharmam. So he removes all Adharma, means all the dirt and all the impediments, all the everything that goes against the principles of pure bhakti. Stira chara vrijinagna. So he removes everything inauspicious and delivers all the living and moving, non-moving entities. Shri Mukhena, he gives blessings to all the world with his Shri Mukhena, his wonderful smile of his lotus lips. Vrajapura Vanitanam, Vardayan Kamadevam. And he is, this last verse is last line is very important, Vrajapura Vanitanam. So he who is rushing towards Vrindavan. Vardayan Kama Devam, especially his heart is full of Kama. It's full of transcendental lust towards the gopis. So the residents of Dwaraka, the Mahishis, the queens, were listening about that. They couldn't believe their ears. That Kama, transcendental love of gopis, much, much higher. They could estimate, from the words of Rohini to some extent, because Rohini is great authority. She's like guru for all the Dwarakavasis, for all the Mahishas, and she is saying such things. So they could accept, theoretically accept, not full understanding. Even Uddhava could not understand. The Mahishas, they could appreciate, to some extent, the Kama, which is in the heart of the gopis. So what Mahishas have, that's only shadow of that Kama. Like Satyabhama is the expansion of Radhika, and Rukmini is the expansion of Chandravali. So the Kama in their hearts, very much shrunken by etiquette, very much shrunken by Sadachar, also divided towards 10 children, 10 sons and 1 daughter, from each of them. So divided into extra 11 parts. Jana Nivasa. So another verse, Naham Vipro Nacha Narapatim Napi Vaishana Shudro Naham Varni Nacha Grihapatir Novanastanatirva Kintu Pradyan Nikila Paramananda Purnamritabdir Gopi Bharta Pada Kamalar Das Das. Yes, confirmed. Everything confirmed. Every word is confirmed. Right. So this is a very, very famous verse from Mahaprabhu quoted it for a reason. This is a verse from Padyavali. Padyavali is an ancient anthology by Srila Rupa Goswami. Verses by Mahajans, great souls. So this is self-identification of every devotee. Naham Vipro, I am not Brahmana, I am not Kshatriya, I am not Vaishya, I am not Shudra. Naham Varni, I don't belong to any Varna, to any ashram. I am not Brahmachari, I am not Grihastha, I am not Vanaprastha, I am not Sannyasi. Who am I? Gopi Bhartu Padakama Dasa Dasa Dasa. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the beloved of the gopis, Krishna. So Krishna, Gopi Bhartu, very, very important verse here because it proves that Krishna is first of all beloved of the gopis. So Pujari pronounces this before going to the Thakuraji. Every devotee can chant this before chanting Gayatri. Very important verse. Naham vipro nacha narapatim vaipi naishana shudro naham varni nacha grihapatir novanastam tiro kintu pradyan nikila paramananda purnamrita dirgopi bhartu padu kamavar dasa dasa. So the devotion, direct devotion towards Gopi Bhartu, the beloved of the gopis, Krishna gives Paramananda to him and to us also. Not that I identify myself with my position. Srimad Bhagavatam in the very beginning calls that self-identification, false self-identification, kshama, means futile waste of time. Futile. If we just think that, I have to perform my varnashrama duties without devotion to Krishna, kshama, only waste of time will follow. So we have to first of all be dedicated to Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then started dancing. When he was dancing, he expressed so many transcendental changes in his body. Sometimes he was appearing as if stunned, and sometimes hairs of his body was standing on end. Sometimes he was trembling and changing color, and sometimes he was exhibiting symptoms of helplessness, pride, humility, exuberance, mixed. Everything was mixed. All controversial, seemingly controversial expressions were exhibited on his body simultaneously. So the Lord is full harmony, isn't he? And full harmony sometimes consists of seemingly controversial elements. But in the Lord, everything is fully harmonious. What to say if he dances? Dancing is the highest expression of happiness for everyone. So we dance in Kirtan, as today we did a little bit. But the Lord always dances. Krishna is Natavara, the best of the dances. For Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in a mood of Radhika before Jagannatha. So there are three manifestations of Radhika actually, and Krishna. So first one is Vrishabhanu Nandini, the daughter of Vrishabhanu. She's always in Vrindavan. The second one is Viyogini, means Radhika absorbed in separation. Viyoga means separation. So Viyogini Radha is that Radha who is absorbed in separation. So when Uddhava came to Vrindavan, she saw that Radharani. He saw that Radharani. He saw many gopis in Uddhava Kiari. There's a place, if you visited Vrindavan, Nandagan, you can remember. If not, please come on Parikrama and visit and hear Harikatha there. So there's a field outside Nandagan where so many gopis were standing and sitting and absorbed in separation. And Uddhava saw them. He saw them, many of them, absorbed in grief of separation. But one of them was lying on the bed of petals, and that gopi was about to give up her life. So that was Radharani. Therefore, Uddhava saw her and could just appreciate the level of her devotion to Krishna. So that is Viyogini Radha, the Radha absorbed in separation. And Samyogini is the third one. Samyogini is the one who is meeting Krishna in Kurukshetra. After many years passed, after Krishna left Vrindavan, there was a meeting at Kurukshetra for the eclipse. So many bullock carts came from Vrindavan. Also many residents of Dwaraka came on the chariots. But residents of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda and Yashoda and others, they came, and gopis also came. So they didn't see Krishna as he was before, with peacock feather and flute and Vaijayanti Mala. No, he was like a prince. And he had some armor, he had some symbols of Dwaraka on his body. And decorations were not as simple. They were high class, emeralds and all those things, jewels, gold. So they approached Krishna and they heard Krishna's answer. Oh, you have to worship me, you have to meditate on me. Like for yogis, he was instructing them. So what they answered we'll hear later, but just to give example, I wanted to say that Radha, who is seeing Krishna at Kurukshetra after long separation, her name is Samyogini, means meeting after long separation. So in Navadvip, in Jagannatha Puri, Krishna, in Jagannatha Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes in the mood of Viyogini Radha, sometimes in the mood of Samyogini, sometimes in deep separation in Nandagan, and sometimes he is in the mood of Samyogini, meeting in Kurukshetra. And on the banks of Godavari, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes and meets Raya Ramananda, then he is in the mood of Samyogini Radha, meeting her at Kurukshetra, meeting Krishna at Kurukshetra. So Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu was dancing in such a way, and Jagannath was watching the dance of the Lord with great adoration and great surprise. He was completely mesmerized by the Lord's dancing, couldn't blink. Yeah. How Krishna dances in the mood of Radhika. So then Svarupa Damodara Goswami, whose disappearance day is today. We'll now glorify him a little bit, because in this episode, Svarupa Damodara started singing. So Svarupa Damodara is Lalita in Krishna Lila. Lalita is always able to feel her dearest friend Radhika's moods. And therefore Lalita and Vishaka, Raya Ramananda is Vishaka, two closest associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they were helping him to understand Radhika's mood. So in order to help Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understand Radhika's mood in this situation while dancing at the Ratha-yatra in front of the deity of Jagannath was going on, then Svarupa Damodara started singing. He started singing one very, very special verse. Seta parananata painu yagalagi madanadahani juri genu. Now I have gained the Lord of my life, in the absence of whom I was being burned by Cupid and was withering away. So that's the mood of Radhika. And Svarupa Damodara gave a hint for Mahaprabhu. So immediately after Mahaprabhu heard this refrain, loudly sung by Svarupa Damodara, Mahaprabhu again began rhythmically dancing in transcendental bliss. The car of Lord Jagannath began to move slowly, while the son of Mother Sachi was ahead and dancing in front. So sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was moving backwards, and then Jagannath, not able to move, was standing. Yeah. Gaura yadi pache chale, Shyama hoye sthire, Gaura age chale, Shyama chale dhire dhire. I remember Gurudev quoting this. Samajhte hain? Gaura jadi pache chale, Shyama hoye sthire. Shyama matlab Jagannath. Gaura aage chale, Shyama chale dhire dhire. Understand? Yeah. So this is Bengali, but you can understand. So yeah, Jagannath was waiting for Mahaprabhu to come forward. Right? When he was forward, then he was moving dhira dhira, little. So that was a sort of competition between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath. Who is faster and who will lead? Who is leading? Yes. So when Mahaprabhu was dancing, his ecstasy changed. Raising his two arms, he began to recite the very, very wonderful verse, which nobody could understand why Mahaprabhu recited it. But that was a verse actually from mundane poetry, Sahitya Darpana, a well-known love poetry. But he all of a sudden quoted it. Ya Kaumara Harasa Eva Hivarasta Eva Chaitrakshapas Te Chanmalita Malati Surabaya Proda Kadamba Nilam Sa Chaivamsmi Tathapi Statra Surata Vyapara Lila Vidham Reva Rodasivita Sitarutale Cheta Samunkantate. It's a famous verse, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted it for a reason. It had a completely different connotation, completely different meaning. In this verse, a lady is saying to her husband, I remember the sweet pastimes we had in our youth. I remember we were not married and we were meeting regularly on the bank of the river Reva under the shade of malati tree. And the sweet wind was carrying the aroma of different flowers. And the full moon nights were there. Now I am with you and we're husband and wife and we have our routine. We have our duties, our everyday life. But my mind is still carrying me to the banks of Reva, beneath the shady malati tree and another tree, malati flowers. I want to be with you again in those times on the banks of Reva. So there were only two personalities who understood that verse. Yeah, certainly Svarupa Damodara Goswami was the one. Again, glories to Shri Svarupa Damodara Goswami ki jai. Today is Disappearance Day. That's the first personality. But the second personality, who that was, you know? Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami, he understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. That's the pranam of Srila Rupa Goswami. He who had understood, Manobishtam means the internal desire of the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's in his pranama mantra. That's why he composed a verse which was corresponding this mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Jagannatha Puri, he was visiting the hut of Haridas Thakur every day, even before visiting Lord Jagannath. So once he wanted to see Srila Rupa Goswami, who was staying with Haridas, and he saw, but Rupa Goswami had gone to take his bath to the ocean. So while Rupa Goswami was absent, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken something from the roof, under the roof, some palm leaf, I think it was. And he saw this verse. Oh, the writing of Srila Rupa Goswami is like it's a chain of pearls. Right. And he read this verse. He read this amazing verse. Priya soyam Krishna sahachari kurukshetra militas tathaham saradha tadidamubhayo sangama sukham tathapyanta khelam madura murali panchamajushe manome kalindi pulina vipinaya sprihayati. So this verse is saying, Srimati Radharani is speaking it at Kurukshetra while meeting Krishna. She is saying to Lalita, my dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna in this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but still I would like to go to the bank of Yamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within the forest of Vrindavan. The fifth note. Krishna is playing on the fifth, but the gopis are singing on the seventh. Krishna is singing on the fifth, and gopis there. Still higher, but Srimati Radhika is longing for those nights at Vrindavan during the Rasa dance. Now she is seeing Krishna, but she cannot recognize. She cannot recognize. So when Krishna was talking to the gopis and he told them some instructions about how to meditate upon him, etc., then the gopis said just one verse in response. So that verse is also quoted by Srila Kaviraj Goswami. Ahushchate nalinanabha padara vindam yogeshwara hrivicintyamagadha bodhai samsara kupa patitottara na valambam geham jusham api manasyudi yat sadana. The gopis said, O dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. Externally, it seems that the gopis are agreeing. Yes, we will meditate upon your lotus feet, because as you truly say, they're the objective of great meditators, great yogis, mystics. So we'll also meditate. The Gurudev is saying, no. Actually, this is not the gopis' mood. Gopis are, they're speaking in, it's called Shleshavakya. Shleshavakya means cunning speech. Saying one thing and meaning something else. So this is the method gopis are telling things. So they're saying, actually, come on, teach us. You can teach us your meditation, but we will not take. We will not take methods of your meditation. Actually, we want to bring you to Vrindavan. We want to bring you along with us. You please come with us to Vrindavan. That's the inner meaning of this verse. We want to take your lotus feet and bring them to Vrindavan. This is the inner meaning. Like people who are independent, right? And you study Srimad Bhagavatam, they get zero. They will not see the true meaning. It's not printed, letter upon letter, The Gyanis cannot follow. They're thinking, oh, the gopis agreed. They will meditate. Even Chandravali's group, they wanted to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. Although they're very obedient, But gopis of Radhika's group, they have man, jealous anger in their heart. A leftish mood, Bhamyabhav, very, very, how to say, acute, right? So they wanted to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. So we want those lotus feet to be awakened in our hearts. What does it mean? They really wanted to put his lotus feet on their breasts, on their heart. That's what it means. Where can it be? Can it be in Kurukshetra? Never. Only in Vrindavan. So that's why they were bringing Krishna to Vrindavan. So Gurudev gives so much importance to this verse Mahaprabhu quoted, because the gopis are really bringing Krishna to Vrindavan on the chariot of their mind, Manoratha. On their Manoratha, on the chariot on their mind, they were bringing Krishna to Vrindavan. So that's the inner meaning. When we visit some Gaudiya temples, we can see on the walls a bas-relief of Manoratha, the chariot of the mind. That's a chariot created by the gopi, consisting with gopis, made of the gopis, chariot made with the gopis. Understand? So some gopis are rolled like wheels. How many are there? I think 8 wheels. Some gopis are lying down like poles, horizontal. Some gopis are standing up like this, forming the dome. And one gopi is standing like a stack for the flag, and one gopi is hanging like a flag. So that's Manoratha. That's the chariot of the mind of the gopis. So gopis are bringing Krishna to Vrindavan like this, on the chariot of their mind. So Srila Gurudev was saying to us, I remember Berlin 2003 Ratha-yatra. He gave us the whole meditation, how to think, not just pulling the rope, because so many Ratha-yatras were made in the world. Jaya Jagannath, very good for Sukriti. But Gurudev gave us very special idea. He said, not by pulling the rope. Pulling the rope will not do. You think, we are bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. That's the whole thing. That's the very, very important thing. So then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to speak in the mood of Srimati Radhika. He spoke about the love which is burning in their hearts. He spoke very, very confidential things. We're quite limited in time today, so it's very, very deep actually. We'll have to perform proper bhajan in order to hear that. I don't feel qualified at all to discuss. But Mahaprabhu said, for most people, the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet there? In the mood of that verse of the gopis, Mahaprabhu is speaking. Please place your feet in Vrindavan. Please make my mind satisfied by that. Remember Krishna, formerly you were staying in Mathura and you sent Uddhava to appease us. He brought us the message of Jnana, but his mission was fully failed. We're not able to meditate in dhyana yoga. But our only desire is to have your lotus feet in Vrindavan so that we can see you always, etc., etc. Very, very confidential things. So we'll now be back at the third story. and we'll tell the final of the third story. So remember, in the third story, Subhadra came, and then Balaram came. So Subhadra came and she met all the devotees in Vraj. She talked to Yashoda. She talked to cowherd boys and cowherd girls, the ladies of Vraj, the gopis. And Radhika was about to leave her body. Simultaneously it happened. Krishna collapsed in Dwaraka and Radhika left consciousness in Vrindavan. So Radhika was at her last breath, practically. And then Lalita and Vishaka started shouting into her ear, Krishna has come, Krishna has come, open your eyes, Krishna is here. And then Radhika opened her eyes, and their eyes met. So the last words of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj in this world were eye-to-eye union. Because devotees in Mayapur in that evening, they asked him question, why was Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannatha Puri for so long? That was the question. He became so happy because there was so much politics in Mayapur at that time. But somebody asked about Harikatha, so he started speaking. He was speaking and speaking, and when he came to that point, he said, eye-to-eye union, he said, I'm sorry, I cannot speak anymore. And they lay him down. The last thing he said, Namakoro, sing kirtan. They started singing kirtan. Then they brought Gopal, his deity, picture, and he said, Gopal left. So that's highest point of the conception of the Gaudias. That's episode. So then Narada, so then their bodies melted. When their eyes met, their bodies melted, and their eyes became like this, like plates, not blinking. So then Narada begged Krishna, oh please, manifest these forms of yours in this world. Manifest this form. So we meditate on Ratha-yatra-lila, on the ecstatic dance of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu at Ratha-yatra. It's called Ratha-yatra-prasanga on this day. And we remember his pure associates who were accompanying him. And I'm begging the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudev and the Vaishnavas, so that these lilas become our life. That's our goal. We're not just hearing stories. We're trying to enter those lilas. So Shri Ratha-yatra ki jai. Today is the disappearance day of Shri Sivananda Sena also. Shri Svarupa Damodara Goswami, so a few words about them. So Shri Svarupa Damodara Goswami, we heard, he was Lalita in Krishna Lila, and he was personal secretary of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very, very diligent, and he was a great knower of tastes, rasas. If somebody was bringing Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu the poems and some pieces of literature somebody had composed, devotees. But first of all, they were under the supervision of Svarupa Damodara Goswami, because he was personal servant. And if there was some rasabas, some overlapping of tastes, he was stopping everything. He was not allowing. Once Svarupa Damodara chastised one devotee who had composed a verse, a drama, I think, a poem about Lord Jagannath. And the poem was composed in such a way that an impression was in the mind of a reader that Jagannath's body and the soul are different. So he told him, hey, why are you writing like this? Why are you writing that Jagannath has a body and the soul? No, Jagannath is not a wooden statue. Jagannath is Krishna himself. So immediately Svarupa Damodara Goswami stopped that. And Svarupa Damodara and Ramananda were always able to support Mahaprabhu's moods, and they were quoting great verses from Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govinda, from Chandidas, from Vidyapati, from Srimad Bhagavatam, great verses from Gopi Gita, Venu Gita, all those things, in order to support Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's moods. Therefore, obviously, Svarupa Damodara Goswami was the person who immediately understood the meaning of why Sri Chaitanya Prabhu quoted that seemingly mundane poetry of Sahitya Darpana. So, Sivananda Sena Prabhu was a great devotee, and he was the father of several sons. One of them was Kavya Karnapur. So Kavya Karnapur is the great author of Ananda Vrindavana Champu and Gauraganadesha Deepika and Chaitanya Chandrodaya, some great books he had written. When he was very young, he had a very, very special privilege of touching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. Specifically, he was sucking his toe, his little finger on his foot, like like children. Suck, yes. So as a result, he was able to write such transcendental literatures like Ananda Vrindavana Champu, Ananda Vrindavana Champu, great Rasika book. So Sivananda Sena was managing parikramas of the residents of Navadvip. They were going to Jagannatha Puri every year to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was responsible for toll payments. When the pilgrims were stopped at certain points, like now they stop cars, so before they were stopping pilgrims, we have to pay. So the whole group had to pay something, and Sivananda Sen was looking after that. And one day there was a great group, and Nityananda was there also. And everybody was coming through, but Sivananda was staying last because he had to pay for everyone. But he hadn't arranged proper accommodation for the group in the village nearby, somehow. And they had to stay under the tree, although it was quite late and dark. And they were waiting for Sivananda to come. But Sivananda was still paying and talking to the toll inspector. And then she came finally. Then Nityananda Prabhu cursed him. He said, "Oh, Shiva, you're again late. So you're late, so I'm cursing you. 3 sons will die." And the wife was just, Maharaj, Nityananda has cursed us, the 3 children will die. And Shivananda jubilant. She said, yes, Haribol, Haribol. We got real mercy of Nityananda. Let my sons die, no problem, for the pleasure of Lord Nityananda. And Nityananda, and he offered prostrated dandavats to Nityananda, and Nityananda kicked his head with his foot. And then they started dancing. Haribol, Haribol. Today Nityananda gave me special mercy. Today Nityananda gave me special mercies. And anyway, his 3 sons survived. No, don't worry. He got very special mercy. He was dancing. On another occasion, there was a great episode with the dog. So the group of pilgrims was going also to Jagannatha Puri, I think. Yes, Jagannatha Puri. And they had to cross the river. And on the way, a dog came to them, and became attached to the group. So dog is typically a dirty animal in India. Everybody kicks dogs, because they eat some non-vegetarian, some dead bodies they can eat, So I myself saw how the dog was eating a dead cow, even, yes. So therefore dogs are dirty animals. But that dog was very special. So he became very attached to the Vaishnavas, and Shivananda was very loving towards the dog. He was a soul, pure. Soul is fully pure. Although degraded body, but the soul is very pure. So the boatman was refusing to take the dog on board. Shivananda was taking care of the dog like a ordinary pilgrim, a group member. So he was trying to persuade the boatman, "Oh, please take this dog on board." And the boatman said, "No, dirty animal, I will not take. I will pay you extra. I will pay you extra." So he gave He gave 8, I think, something shells, not coins, shells, special price for the dog. Okay, so he agreed. Good payment. So he transferred the dog to the other side, and one day he forgot to feed the dog, so the dog disappeared. And they couldn't see the dog for some days. But then when they came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, to Jagannatha Puri, they saw Mahaprabhu feeding the dog with his own hands. He was giving the dog the coconut pulp. What's inside the coconut? Some pulp, you know. He was feeding the dog. And say Krishna, like this. And the dog was saying Krishna in his own particular way. But then the dog disappeared. Nobody could find. So the dog went to Vaikuntha. So that's the glories of Sivananda Sena. Some of the glories, there was some more. Yeah, and there's another issue. There was one brahmachari, I forgot his name, Nala, forgot. Anyway, that brahmachari. So everybody was speaking about that brahmachari, that he's possessed of Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu has, came last story, like a spirit, you know. So everybody was saying, that brahmachari is speaking something, some message from Mahaprabhu. And Sivananda Sena came to ascertain that it's really so. Confirmed, yes. So he saw that, he was thinking, there's a group, and in that group, that devotee should mention my name. If he mentions my name without any knowledge that I'm there, but that's Mahaprabhu speaking through him. And that brahmachari said, Sivananda Sena, you have come. You know, and he gave blessings actually. So therefore Sivananda Sena ascertained that the devotee was really possessed of Mahaprabhu. Shri Sivananda Sena ki jai, Shri Ratha-yatra ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. So I'm very, very grateful to all the devotees here in Rotterdam, especially to our supporter of this temple, my old dear friend in the Bhushan Prabhu, who is, you can block your ears now, who is very pure servant of Srila Gurudev and our Shiksha Gurus. So great thanks to him, and great thanks to you also, Damodari Didi and Sukhada Didi, who came all the way from Ireland to be in our seminar. And thanks for all the devotees who are coming and helping, very pure souls. We're very happy. We did all Harinam Sankirtan also one time. Thank you for your help. And we will have some time for association this evening. And please come to Vrindavan. We're eagerly waiting for you there, and meet very, very exalted souls who are our Shiksha Gurus nowadays. Thanks again very much. Ik ben heel blij. Heel blij. Ik ben heel blij. Ik ben heel blij. And hartelijk bedankt, Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande. If you have some questions, you can ask afterwards. Now we have to sing Arati. And tomorrow and on the weekend, there will be broadcasts from England. Now we're going to England, and tomorrow at local time 8 o'clock, 20 hours, there will be class from Yoga Studio near London, and then local time 17 hours, 5 o'clock. Yes, not YouTube, on YouTube channel. So, Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanande Hare Bol.